Let's turn our attention to the United States now, where interest rates have risen by 0.75%. That's the biggest hike since 1994. Well, our US correspondent Martha Kellner joins us now. So why the need for this big rate move, Martha?
Yeah, this is a 0.75% rise in interest rates. It's the biggest single hike, as you mentioned there, Anna, for 28 years. The Federal Reserve, which is the US central bank, the equivalent of the Bank of England, is sending a message to lenders, but also to the American people, that they recognise that the cost of living is going up and they're committed to doing something about it. To that end, the chair of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, has been giving an address in the past half an hour. He was blaming the war in Ukraine as well as other events for rising inflation. And he said they have to be cruel to be kind in a way. They have to hurt the economy in order to help the American people. And I think we can hear a little bit of what he said.
The surge in prices of crude oil and other commodities that resulted from Russia's invasion of Ukraine is boosting prices for gasoline and food and is creating additional upward pressure on inflation. And COVID-related lockdowns in China are likely to exacerbate supply chain disruptions. My colleagues and I are acutely aware that high inflation imposes significant hardship, especially on those least able to meet the higher costs of essentials like food, housing, and transportation. Clearly, today's 75 basis point increase is an unusually large one, and I do not expect moves of this size to be common.
That's Jerome Powell there, the chair of the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve have been gently nudging up interest rates over the past few months in order to try and bring down inflation, so far unsuccessfully. So this 0.75% rise is a rather more blunt instrument to tackle rising inflation, which is a big problem in the American economy at the moment. The problem, in a nutshell, is one that's familiar to people in the UK. During the pandemic, people were saving money. They then emerged from the pandemic with spare money, if you like, more disposable income. That meant there was more demand for goods and, in turn, a rising cost of goods. That's not been brought under control by these gentle price rises, these gentle interest rate rises, if you like. Instead, consumer prices rose by 8% in May. That means we've seen a rising cost of food, gas and housing. President Biden recognises that this is not only a problem for the American people, but it also reflects on his presidency. Presidential fortunes are often tied to the strength or weakness of an economy. So he's trusting the Federal Reserve to tackle inflation in a way that his predecessor, the former President Donald Trump, didn't do. So President Biden trusting them to tackle inflation and bring it back under control, even if it will be painful for the American people in the short term.
Martha, thank you.